What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with RK Outpost, and when you refuse to bend the knee, when you don't give in to the demands of the woke mob, all because you have an opinion that they don't like and that they might be offended by, and they try to cancel you, good things will happen because you will be supported by so many rational, normal people out there. And there may be no finer example than Joe Rogan and Dave Chappelle, proving once again that you cannot be canceled unless you let yourself be canceled. If you refuse to even play this game, you will be okay. So many people will come out and support you, and we have seen Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan continue to win time after time after time as their critics take massive losses, especially in the past few weeks, as Joe Rogan has been going at it with CNN, and of course Dave Chappelle has been going at it with the Netflix trans activists who have completely embarrassed themselves in every possible way. And now where are we? Well, you have headlines like this. Joe Rogan, Dave Chappelle slam cancel culture in joint event before sold-out New Orleans audience. And in fact, they set a record in New Orleans at Smoothie King Center. The biggest crowd for a single event there of all time. All to see Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan. Sure as shit seems like they have not let themselves be canceled. Chappelle, go buy a transgender person a cup of coffee and tell them I say hello. And I wanted to read through this and see a couple things that they said, a few jokes here and there, but also kind of the sentiment and how they're feeling right now when they're going to these sold out arenas because they have refused to bend the knee. Joe Rogan has been a target for so long for the cancel culture mob because he is so popular. And Joe Rogan is not even like a hard conservative guy. That's the most ironic thing about all this stuff. Joe Rogan's kind of a moderate, almost a liberal at times, but he has a lot of different opinions, and some of them step outside the echo chamber, and that is not okay. So it's almost like he has been pushed further to the right than he truly is because these people keep attacking him over and over and over again. The left continues to attack him. And now, if you simply have criticisms of Joe Biden, well, now you're just considered alt-right. And that's the path that where Joe Rogan finds himself, with the most popular podcast in the country and probably the world. Yet the critics want to say that, oh, he's just appealing to these types of people, which is absolutely insane. And then you have Dave Chappelle, who obviously, if you've heard about his politics, he's not a right-wing person, very far from it, yet he is under attack by the woke leftist mob all over his jokes. Well, these guys are not bending the knee anytime soon. Joe Rogan and Dave Chappelle came together before a sold-out crowd in the Big Easy Thursday, teaming for a joint event centered on mocking their critics and defying cancel culture. Fans of both comedy stars filled the Smoothie King on the edge of New Orleans' French Quarter with no intention to heed calls from some to shun them over their recent controversies. The two faced a swath of criticism in recent weeks, stemming from Rogan's outspoken views against the jab and in favor of certain treatments for the virus. And I will say, against it for himself, and maybe calling into question some of the numbers and things like that. I don't think at any point Joe Rogan would consider himself anti anything. Simply, it's not the decision he wants to make. And of course, Dave Chappelle for the transgender jokes in the Netflix special, The Closer. The star-studded lineup, which included comedians Donald Rawlings, Jeff Ross, and Tom Segura, culminated with both Rogan and Chappelle, while only appearing briefly on stage together, holding firm to their respective comedic styles and pressing forward with sharing the jokes and views that originally led to them being targeted by critics. Rogan, who appeared before Chappelle, joked that people shouldn't be taking his advice when it comes to the jab and whether or not they decide to get it. Exactly, just like I said. He was seemingly referencing criticism he received from media outlets like CNN, and he says, "This is my advice. Don't listen to my advice." He later riffed on topics like gender, homosexuality, and race. "See, this is what gets me canceled," he said. Note his jokes don't sound as good when written on paper. Rogan introduced Chappelle, who began his routine by quipping he had recently, quote, made a lot of white people angry, appearing to reference a backlash against his transgender remarks, specifically from some Netflix employees. A small, emphasis on small number of them later participated in a walkout in protest of Chappelle's special. And he made a joke about white people, guys. I don't know. I think maybe we should cancel Dave Chappelle. He said a joke about white people. That is not okay. That's a thought process that you have going on with these small little parts of these communities, like we have seen with a small portion of the trans community in the past 4 weeks. He joked his wife had purchased him a revolver after the release of the special because transgender people were, quote, trying to kill him. And I believe he mentioned that it's like got a pearl grip and everything and didn't look the manliest. I believe he said that. He poked fun at himself. How dare a comedian poke fun at something, including himself? This is great. Chappelle, after he introduced one of his bodyguards as a former player for the Dallas Cowboys, which of course in New Orleans, they don't like the Cowboys, they started booing, and he says, "Don't go transgender on me." That's fucking great. And then here you go. When a fan later began chanting, "Let's go Brandon," Chappelle joked, "I'm not going to have that shit during my show." And he said no one should be saying "fuck Joe Biden," but noted to laughter that he'd been looking observably frail. So he's a leftist, right? He is a liberal. That's who he is. He's probably good with Joe Biden, right, as president, especially over Donald Trump. So he makes a little fun of people, say, "Hey, don't say that shit," but then he makes fun of Joe Biden. That's what comedians do, ladies and gentlemen. That's what they have done for so long. And these guys getting together, making jokes, standing up to the cancel culture mob is absolutely perfect. He ended the show by telling audience members if they saw a transgender person on the street, they should buy them a cup of coffee. When they ask why you're doing that for them, tell them Dave Chappelle says hello, he says. Someone's going to consider that targeting and violence or something like that of the trans community. That's probably what's going to happen. And then one of the best parts was they had interviews with people going to this show, fans of Joe Rogan and Dave Chappelle, bashing cancel culture. That's one of the best parts of this. I want to get a couple quotes from these guys. "You can't bow to the mob," said one man. At a separate point in the interview, the same individual asserted, "It's America," and Chappelle should be able to perform however he wants with his platform, noting the show in New Orleans was sold out. Obviously, it's not affecting him too badly. One woman said it's a comedian's job to tell jokes and offend everybody and anybody. You can't take everything to heart and get your panties in a bunch. Two other individuals dismissed the idea that jokes about any group of people, specifically the trans community, should be off limits. "I'm not a homophobic person, but I just don't understand how a community can rule over comedy, music, and cancel people. People are taking the cancel culture too far. Honestly, if making fun of one specific group is off the table, I mean, that's just kind of, I don't know." And yeah, you're a little bit speechless because that's not the way it should be. Why is it just this small sect of people that continue to try to cancel people over anything and everything? We saw what happened to Gina Carano, these people that targeted her for months all over the pronoun thing. There are certain individuals, they have no power, they have no influence truly in real life. But on the Twitter sphere, they do. For the people that want to pretend like Twitter is real life, they see people with faceless, nameless accounts and pronouns in their bio, and that's important to them. And they end up making decisions for their company based off that, which is ludicrous. Look at these shows. Record-breaking numbers for Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan, all because they refuse to bend the knee and apologize for things that need no apology. Let me know your thoughts about all this in the comments below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.